This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, perfect. You guys are good to go. You want to start?
I would also recommend to everybody when you're speaking, and I should have just done it, say your name before you speak, so that as they're trying to sift through the record after the fact, they know who's talking, because it's a lot harder on this. So this is Lee. Let's call to order our meeting. We have a quorum, and I think we can forego introductions. You just took my agenda away, though. So, I just lost it.
What happened to it?
Hold on, I got it up here. Hold on, let me. She's testing my ability to run a meeting without an agenda. Okay.
Oh,
God.
Stephanie is in there as the new presenter.
All right. Well.
Okay, what do I do? I'm trying to hook into this thing. What do I do?
It's fine. I think we can move past homeowners forum and open session because we're obviously having an odd remark, and we can, I think, forego president remarks for this meeting. So let's go to item number 4, action items. First, under operations is the acceptance of the January 14th minutes. Do we have anyone who wants to make a motion to accept those minutes?
This is Cheryl. Motion
to accept.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
I say, Lee, actually, can we go back and actually do introductions first? And on that one, I do need a second as well. Sorry.
On introduction, you need a second?
No, I need a second on accepting the minutes because we had a motion by Cheryl, but not a second.
Okay, you can put the second as me.
Okay, thank you.
Christina, I don't care, pick a person.
Okay.
On introductions, this is Lee Ferris, president.
Cheryl Gowan, Vice President.
Brenda Hicks, Director. Christina Brown, Secretary.
Stephanie?
Is she there?
Stephanie? Bueller? Okay, well, we've lost our treasurer.
Okay. And then we got Michelle Carpenter, community manager.
And Jeremy McLean with CCMC.
We will plow forward without our treasurer. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the minutes. We voted on that. Next is the financials to accept December, January, and February financial statements and bank reconciliations.
Should we come back to that when we have a treasurer?
Well, I think we could, but I know we've had discussions about them. I think we can.
Okay.
Unless well, that's fine. We can. Is that okay, Michelle, if we move past it?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, we'll give Stephanie a chance to figure out the technology and come back. Next
just to make sure she doesn't have any questions.
Yeah, the next is the consent agenda. These are 4 items. We're going to hear them correct all as one motion, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And,
okay, sorry.
Okay, she's back.
She's
So
back.
we are on the consent agenda. Anyone want to make a motion on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion on the consent agenda.
Okay, so we have Cheryl and Stephanie as motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay, so the consent agenda passes.
Did you approve the financial stuff?
No, we paused for you. So we're going to go back to the
Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to work this.
It's okay. Go back to the financials. This is an item on the agenda to accept December, January, and February financial statements and bank reconciliations. Are there any discussion?
I make a motion to approve those. If there's not any other discussion.
Is there a second?
This is Cheryl. I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
That passes. And then we can get down to new business. This is Lee again, down to new business. First is the review and discussion approval of the design guidelines, which would add rubber mulch as an approved ground cover to backyards only. This is based off, I think, a number of submittals we've had to the design review committee. And I think this is a reasonable addition to this to the guideline. So is there any other discussion? Anyone else have anything they want to add to this item?
Do you want me to read the actual wording on it?
I do not, but if somebody else would like to hear it, I've read it. So does anyone else want to hear it?
I'm good.
Okay.
No.
Anyone want to make a motion?
Motion to approve?
Make a,
Okay. Anyone want a second?
Christina Brown,
I will second. This
Okay.
is Stephanie.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay. So item number 1 carries. This is Lee again. Item number 2, the review and discussion and approval of the revision of the design guidelines to allow awnings with certain conditions. I think first and foremost being that they be kept in good working order and that they be retracted, correct, Michelle?
Correct.
Okay. This again is off several submittals we've had to the DRC and trying to find, I think, a reasonable middle ground to for folks to make an attempt here. So I think, again, this is a good revision to the design guidelines. With that, is there anyone else who has any comments? There's no comments. Does someone want to make a suggestion or a recommendation?
This is Cheryl. I'll do a motion to approve.
I'll second. This is
This
Brenda.
is Stephanie. I'll second it.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second on the floor. This is Lee. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay. Item 2 carries. This is Lee again. Next is the review and discussion or approval of pool maintenance proposals. I know we have multiple ones. Michelle, you want to go through the different proposals and then we could talk a little bit, I think, about timing and when we're going to actually go through these things.
So we do have TGJ that can come out and paint the deck, and also our 12 poles that are on the pool side over there that are a little rusted on the bottoms. They've got a total on theirs for $3,890 for all that work. And then we also do have a proposal from GTI. They're proposing to do the concrete maintenance on there. It's a lot of pool coping, and then the concrete deck. They've also added in there to bolt down the picnic tables, so those cannot be moved. So they've got in their proposal also to touch up the paint on the poles, which that will be removed. That's $1,200 that's on there as well. So the total on it's $11,759 for theirs, but that would be minusing the $900 to bolt down the picnic tables, and then also the $1,200 for the painting if we were to go with TGJ.
So having gone out to the pool today, and this is Lee, and talked a little bit with GTI and a little bit with Michelle and Josh, what I'm going to recommend, and I think it's a worthwhile discussion, is I would recommend up to $4,000 to do the repairs as we see best. We talked a little bit with GTI about potentially getting the concrete pieces that really need to be repaired fixed. And could they do that for under $4,000? They're going to go back and look at their number. The issue with painting, and or we can paint. And the only concern about painting is if we paint it this year and then have to do the concrete repairs next year, then we will have certain panels that won't match the paint. And it's hard to match the paint if it's been out and faded for a year. So I think we have a little bit of work to do still with these guys, but I would recommend that we authorize up to $4,000 to do repairs, and then we can sift through with these two guys and find the best sense of what we need to get done in terms of what's the best thing to do overall for the pool. And then the other part of my discussion, or the other thing that I would recommend, is that we do not do this work yet. We wait until we have some sense of when the pool can actually open, because there's the very real chance that the pool may not open this year. and it's possible. So I would also recommend that we postpone the improvements until we have a better sense of when the pool's going to open and what other costs we may have to incur to actually open the pool. So those are my thoughts about it. I don't know who else would like to discuss it.
This is Cheryl. I agree with you, Lee. I think knowing more of when we might be able or may be able to open the pool, whether it's a partial season or not at all this season, would be probably the best way to go, just so we're not spending money now that we may not need to spend and spend it more next year.
This is Christina Brown. I'm in favor of Lee's recommendation.
This is Lee. Brenda
Okay.
or
Well,
Stephanie? Go ahead.
So contingent upon pool opening and the timing of that, then I would make a motion to approve up to $4,000 and on fixing the various pool issues if in fact we open here in the near future. This year, I guess, this year.
Okay,
I
there's
agree with that.
okay. Brenda, is that a second?
Yep.
Okay,
I'll
we
second
have a
it.
motion in a second. Let's all vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay. On to the next one. Next, this is Lee again. Next, under new business, item 4, review and discuss approval of the Adventure Park Playground proposal. Shall you want to go through this?
Yeah, so we have a tunnel that is at our adventure park area that the top of it and the sides of it are covered with lots of rocks and was boulders at one point in time. It is a landscape maintenance issue because kids and adults are crawling on top of it, causing all the rocks on the top to basically come down onto the play surface. So it's a daily maintenance issue. So GTI has come up with a proposal for $4,460 basically to kind of keep them in place with, I guess, necessarily kind of gluing them down with bigger boulders.
Okay. So you want to have any discussion items? If any of you guys have seen this, this is a constant maintenance nightmare. There's constantly rock on the ground around it, and the bigger rock, which is extraordinarily expensive, is disappearing at a rate that makes me think someone's walking away with it one at a time. But that said, something has to be done.
Confident?
It doesn't look very good. And no, it's okay. It just doesn't look very good. It looks very unkept and unmaintained. And so we need to do something. Stephanie, I think your question was, are we confident it's going to work? And I think what I would suggest is if we approve this item, we would approve it subject, I think, to further discussion with GTI, making sure we're all confident that it is going to work. So we have discussed it with them. Josh, I know, has discussed it with them. And I think it's worthwhile of having one more field meet to make sure we're all comfortable that what they're proposing to do is doable before we actually cut them loose on the whole amount. But I think we're at a point now where we can have that discussion.
And
Okay.
if we go forward with this, Lee, will that stop if people are indeed stealing them? Will this prohibit that?
Should, yes. I mean, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to pour a thick base of concrete, and then we're going to set the rocks in the concrete to a depth where they would be pretty tough to yank out.
Okay.
And you really
Like routing it in.
something to do that. Now, again,
Sounds good.
if we find that people, if it's, still not working, then the other alternative, and we have a few others, one is just to take the cover off the thing and maybe regrade the area around it as a whole. But to keep it consistent with the original design concept, this is the fix. And we actually, when we built it, contemplated this, and we decided not to do it to see how it went. So this goes back to some of the original design intent. So if everyone's okay with that, can we get a motion to?
This is Cheryl. I'll motion to accept.
Thank you, Cheryl. We have a
I'll
second.
second
Okay.
that. This is Stephanie.
Excellent. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Seeing there's no opposition, that one carried. Michelle, I've lost my computer and its ultimate wisdom has kicked me out of my agenda, so.
Not a problem. The next item is the next board meeting date, which is set for July 14th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. After that, we have our homeowners open forum session. So this meeting has been obviously a little different because of the COVID-19 outbreak. So we did have the opportunity for residents to be able to submit any questions, comments, concerns, or anything that wanted to be read during the actual board meeting. They were able to email me all the way up until noon today. So I did receive an email this morning from Nicholas. His email says, "Thank you, directors, for continuing to make this community a place I'm proud to call my home. I wanted to address some community maintenance issues for the Virtuoso area. This includes the following streets: Bataneri, Misterioso, Andy Wheeler, Volti Sabito, and Alla Breve. These streets and sidewalks have been extremely compromised from construction vehicles. The fire lanes, the red paint needs to be repainted within the community to ensure safety vehicles are given the appropriate area if any emergency shall occur. Also, parked vehicles have been parked in the streets for weeks now without moving. Would it be possible to patrol this area and issue any warning citations for these vehicles to move? In addition, garbage cans are left within the streets and in driveways during the week after our assigned trash day. Can citations be given to these residents? Thank you for your time, Nicholas."
Okay, so I think obviously the street condition and parking are Henderson related issues. So those things, unfortunately, we have very little say because they're public streets, and those have to be directed to the city. And hopefully, Michelle, you can give him good direction on how to file complaints with the city through Contact Henderson. And then I would ask you to direct patrol to pay careful attention to those areas on trash day and the next day to make sure trash cans are being moved back inside or in the backyard timely. Does anyone else have anything they want to add in response to that?
I think for me, the parking, obviously it's a City of Henderson issue, but we might want to also maybe remind him that there may be lots of people who are working from home or who have lost a job. I haven't driven my car in 4 weeks. Fortunately, it's parked in the garage, but it's been sitting there for 4 weeks. So there may be some folks in that predicament as well, where they have multiple vehicles and some they just don't need to drive. If they go to the store, they can go together or use one vehicle. So just maybe something to have them keep in mind.
Good point.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any prohibition as long as your car is legally tagged. I don't think there's any length of time requirement or any maximum length of time to leave your car in one spot as long as you're legally tagged and legally parked. So.
And in another month or two, it may change. So
Correct.
we can always, address it then if there's still that many vehicles that are never moving.
Okay. Anyone else have anything you want to add to that? All right. Seeing no one, then we'll close the homeowners open forum session and move to adjourn the meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
This is Brenda. Make a motion.
This is Stephanie.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, with that, we adjourn the meeting.
Okay,
All right,
thank you guys.
so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.